Welcome, everybody, to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Hello, Carolyn. How are you?
Oh, I'm just great. I'm just looking at myself in my Thanksgiving shirt. I look like a pumpkin, but that's okay.
You don't look anything like a pumpkin, but I love this. What is it, a malachite, you said?
Yeah, malachite, and these are laser colored pearls. Woo!
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, for everybody who's just meeting Dr. Carolyn Dean, obviously, in addition to being quite a stunner, she is the world's leading expert on magnesium and mineral supplementation, and along with teaching you everything you need to know about yeast overgrowth, which is something we're going to start referring to as sugar toxicity, because they're kind of one and the same. And we're going to be talking about that tonight and many other health topics that are at the top of your head because they're at the top of the news. And you want to get Dr. Dean's insider perspective as an MD and an ND with over 50 years of experience, following all the trends, watching all the problems, seeing all the fads. She can give you some very clear, direct information about how to take care of your body, reduce your biological age. Can't do anything about your chronological age, but you might be able to do something about your biological age, and also just improve your overall optimism and well-being and your bliss factor. All those things tonight and more. We want to welcome everybody watching us live on X, everybody watching live on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you for joining us tonight. Please tell your friends you can share the show live right now and let them know you're here partaking. And then we say again, welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Thank you, Ginny. Yes. When Ginny says Dr. Dean has spent more time, what more time doing what, Ginny?
Helping people with their health for no charge. I mean, yeah.
And that's because I have been at this for almost 60 years.
Wow, 60, wow.
In my teens, I was reading health books and, mouthing off about what people should be eating and shouldn't be eating. I finally went to med school because people weren't listening to me. Wow. So I've been being positive about being healthy for a long time. Yes. And yeah, that's what some people drop off. And the other cool thing about my trajectory is that I went into med school and then went into medicine knowing I wanted to focus on diet, lifestyle, nutrition, and I learned a lot before I even went into medicine. So I kind of tease doctors who say, yeah, I've been practicing for 10 years and I'm not really helping people. And then they make the shift. I was so fortunate that I just went right into my naturopathic medical practice up in Canada. And within a couple of months, my practice was actually full. And I was doing a 4-day week because I wanted to have a day off to go and hang out with other doctors and see what they were doing. And when I got really busy, full practice and everything, I went to a 3-day week. Because I was right in the middle of, in the 80s there, seeing the chronic fatigue condition come up. So many of my female patients, they were sick. They had viral infections. They had all kinds of things, yeast overgrowth, of course. So I said, I'm not going to be one of those people. So
Mm,
I went through a 3-day week. So I have always practiced what I preached. And I'm saying this to a pastor. Ginny is a pastor.
yes.
So, yeah. So more time, I agree. I mean, when you were saying that, yeah, and it is definitely true.
Yeah.
And I guess that's my rant. Sometimes I do a rant because I have this on my files here in front of me. I have rant in capitals, and then I put food fear, and I couldn't remember, well, what was I going to talk about? But just quickly, and maybe I'll do it another time in more detail. You really have to beware of all the podcasts that are out there
Mm.
that have these shouty titles about don't eat this or eat more of that or do this or do that. It's just crazy what's going on out there. So that's why a lot of people, for many reasons, should just shut things down and read a book or go to my website and read some of my books there, because there's so much information out there, whether good, bad, or indifferent, that you're just getting overloaded. The brain cannot take the amount of information that's coming at us. And there'll be a study showing that at some point. So I'm just telling you right now, just slow it down, turn off the devices, and just chill.
Yes, absolutely. And I think there are the other thing is that in the absence of clear direction, the mind will always create confusion and shut you down.
Mhm.
And so if you say, oh, okay, well, I think I'd like to go on a diet and lose 10 pounds. What diet should I do? And you listen to 4 podcasts, you're going to be just going to the store and getting donuts because none of it's going to make any sense. And
Right.
it's going to leave you with a sense of hopelessness and despair, whatever. And that's true of practically anything. Whether you care about your pets and you want to know what to do about them, you care about your husband and his heart condition and you're not sure what to do there, you've got to find trusted sources for your information and also the companion products to go with it. And that's the thing about Carolyn. And I was noticing, I was talking to somebody this weekend. It's a new neighbor moved in, a delightful woman. She has gone to an integrative doctor, but even in that, her product recommendations are not even from the same product line. She's got one from this and one from this and one from this and one from this company. And so the lady is like, what am I supposed to do here? Because it's all over the place and I don't know any of these companies and I don't know who I can trust. And I said, you should work with a doctor like we have, that's the CEO, who has a product line that supports the protocols that she recommends. And
Mm.
that just made so much sense to her. It's very common sense what we're doing because Carolyn's very commonsensical. We've been doing it for a long time. And what's taken over the internet between robots and marketing companies is not necessarily wholesome.
Mm.
So Dr. Dean's right. Stick with us. We're going to keep you good to go. Ask Alan. Alan's on the chat line. Alan is one of our most favorite customers in the whole wide world. He can tell you everything. Ask any of our customers. Call customer service and ask them, but we're here to help you. All right, Carolyn.
Right. And also, what we'll be showing you very shortly is where our company stands atop. We know that already, atop about 1,000 supplement companies that are out there. So we feel your pain at having to choose between all these supplement companies. And so far, we're in the top 10 of up to 1,000 companies.
That's
So
right.
we will give you the final statistics on that when the company lets us expose them. But I mean, that is pretty amazing for the tiny little company. We're not publicly owned, all that business. We're doing very well for our customers and for ourselves. To be ranked that highly is incredible, right, Ginny?
Yeah, it really is. It's an accomplishment, something we've been working on for 15 years. We're going to be like a rock band, Carolyn. We're like an overnight sensation that's been singing in small bars in Boston for 15 years, like Billy Joel. But
Yeah.
we are definitely an overnight sensation, you guys. We're very happy, and most of our customers on the chat line have been with us this whole time. So we're very grateful. The stick-to-itiveness of our customers and their interest in continuing to engage just proves our point. Because who does this? You know, I mean, a lot of people don't really stick around that long and they don't really engage. Well, the reason why they're engaged is because they're anxious to continue to learn how they can improve their health and anything new that Dr. Dean's got up her sleeve, and they want to share their success. So we're very proud of our customers too, very much so.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, and we depend on our customers to spread the word because it's the only way it gets out there anymore. And with the FDA not letting us tell people what our dietary supplements do, we call them formulas because they're formulated. And yeah, it's important for people to know that they're working with a trusted company. And there's much more we can say, but we'll keep you posted with the actual numbers as we go on. But right now we're going to this week's blog, Ginny.
Yes.
We're still doing sugar.
Yes, we are.
This is the best title. I don't know if this title got on the website. I forgot to look, but the title I had for it is Sugar Breaking Your Heart. Isn't that cool? And this is all these blogs are kind of long and involved, but it's the story about sugar is 50 years ago, the studies were coming out that sugar is bad for the heart. And the sugar company, the sugar institutes, the sugar industry got scared and they buried the research. And then they pointed the finger at cholesterol for causing heart disease. And that led to the $1 billion statin solution for a problem that didn't really exist. And, that's a vast generalization. But the more you read about cholesterol now, the more you're learning that we've been bamboozled into thinking that cholesterol is bad. Oh, well, no, it's LDL. And now they're saying, well, maybe it's lipoprotein A, and on and on and on. They keep trying to drill down and find the something to allow them to continue to use statins. And I can't help this, Ginny, but I have to sidebar because I'm writing a book about vitamin C and what is happening with the whole cholesterol mishigosh is that lipoprotein A, which is I guess it's a smaller portion of LDL with some sort of protein tail, LPA, it's being called. It doesn't respond to statins at all. So there's a big freak out in drug research. And what are we going to do? But then all of a sudden, there's 5 drugs in the pipeline for LPA. So all of a sudden, all the doctors are being told, look out for LPA, do the test, we'll give you the drug. And it turns out that vitamin C, that Linus Pauling talked about for heart disease, along with lysine and proline, are the likely treatments for lipoprotein A. But it gets even more exciting. It's like detective work. What's going on here? You've got and this is a young doctor online, Nick Norwich. He's talking about this, but he misses a lot of the layers because these doctors aren't trained in vitamins and minerals. But lipoprotein A is a blood clotter, so it'll help with wound healing. Vitamin C has a similar function. Humans don't make their own vitamin C. We have to take it by mouth, fruits and whatever, and supplements. And in animals like the guinea pigs, they've shown that guinea pigs don't produce their own vitamin C, and they have high lipoprotein A. So there's some indication that these two, whatever molecules, chemicals, have similar functions. And if you don't have enough vitamin C, your body will make lipoprotein A. But in the state we're in right now, where we're killing our vitamin C with high sugar intake, because sugar and vitamin C compete. And if there's too much sugar, you don't even get vitamin C going into your cells. So you don't get the benefits of vitamin C. So your body produces more lipoprotein A to be around for wound healing. And, when you get too much wound healing, it becomes blood clots. So that's sort of the transition from something being beneficial to being harmful, because there's no vitamin C to speak of. 90 milligrams is nothing. Linus Pauling, for human body weight, compared to animals that produce vitamin C, we should be taking about 8 to 10 grams a day, which I've been doing. And I mean, I've felt good before. I don't know if I feel much different. Maybe my little blood vessels are getting healthier and happier. But Ginny, I'm just going to pull away from the blog for a minute to ask you, what do you think about that information? Isn't that cool?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic because it's going to help a lot of people. A lot of people. I mean, this is a big issue. It's a big issue in our country right now. A lot of people are suffering and they're being misdirected. So I think it's fantastic. I knew this book was going to be so great. I'm so excited you're doing it.
Ginny encouraged me to write the vitamin C book, and like every other book, every other thing that Ginny has suggested. And when I finally do it, it's a winner. It's like bite, bite, bite.
Yeah.
Never stop. Never.
No, especially when you've got such great information, and I've watched you build your vitamin C knowledge and your response to it and your confidence in it. And, we started with just whole seed, then we started with this, then we're adding another, but just how you've understood the dynamics of vitamin C in the body and its relationship to the other nutrients and what it's doing cardiovascularly. And, there's other features to vitamin C that are going to be served, and lysine. I mean, in terms of infectious diseases and all kinds of other things. So we're in great shape, and it's very exciting, very exciting.
Good. And just, I'll go through a little more of, what was the title of that again? Is sugar breaking your heart? So yeah, they decided sugar's fine. The sugar monopoly convinced everybody that, oh, well, sugar just causes cavities. It's not doing anything else. Obesity, no, that's just lack of exercise and people eating too much. I mean, you can watch the past 50 years how they downplayed sugar as a problem. And that it is all falling apart, but still there are so many people who haven't got a clue. And our sugar books are telling you that. What is it? The sugar toxicity books. There's one is out, the second one is coming, and the third one is going to be recipes so people can get away from sugar. So what are we talking about here? In 2023, sugar sales topped 31 billion. The more sugar people eat, the more money the sugar industry makes. And they fund research recommending 10 to 25% of the diet comes from added sugar. They support that. 25% of a 2,000 calorie kind of average diet is 500 calories or 125 grams of sugar, which is 30 teaspoons of sugar a day. A soda has 20 grams or 10 teaspoons, and energy drinks have 15 grams, something like that. So, I mean, people who you'll see on YouTube, people drinking, oh yeah, I drink 3 or 4 sodas a day. I mean, that is incredible. incredible amount of sugar. Um, so a blog I wrote a few years ago, I said if medicine followed the sugar research 50 years ago and made the public more aware of the dangers of sugar, we would all be in a different place. So what do you do? Stop eating added sugar, and it does mean the pastries and pies and white bread and cookies and bagels. So I limit and I recommend limiting sweet intake to a few pieces of fruit a day. And when you have a sweet dessert, take a few grams of vitamin C to counteract the damage and to keep your vitamin C going into the cells to deal with the sugar damage. And with desserts, I promote my avocado, coconut cream, banana, cacao pudding as awesome. And I've been eating that sort of dessert instead of taking my restructure powder at night. So Ginny, I started putting it's a half a scoop of restructure powder in my chocolate pudding, and it is quite delicious. So call our customer experience team and develop your protocol and get some support for cutting back on sugar. And what we know is that the sweetness taste and the addiction to sweetness, it can be a perversion of your nutrients. If you have enough zinc, then you have healthier taste buds that aren't as addicted to sugar. So there's that to look at. Also, customer experience team will be looking at your yeast overgrowth because yeast will crave sugar, like the Borg in Star Trek. So you might be on a daily regimen of treating yeast, which is what I do. I take my Flora Revive every day because I'm going to eat my chocolate pudding and I'm going to eat a few pieces of fruit or some frozen organic cherries. So am I growing my yeast with that little amount? It's possible. So I take my Flora Revive and my Pico Silver. And I think I talked about it last week, the carnivore people who get such a positive effect from their just strict sort of meat and eggs diet, meat, eggs, and fish diet, I think it is. If they stray off and eat an apple, they freak out. They feel so bad. They are likely feeding yeast and need to treat the yeast, not by just starving it. You cannot just starve yeast and make it go away forever. It's just not possible. I tried for 10 years, and that's where I finally decided I had to make an antifungal. It's a capsule, it's not a liquid, and being able to pair it with our picometer stabilized ion of silver was just dramatic. So I will stop my discussion about the blog and turn it back to you, Ginny.
That's great information for everybody, though, Carolyn, and everybody needs to hear it. So you guys check out the blog. Be sure you have the book. And of course, if you're a member, you get to download it at no charge. And if you have to get it on Amazon and put it in your Kindle, like Dr. Dean always does, even if her books are free, she wants it in her Kindle, 99 cents. But it's a phenomenal resource, and it's a very good information for the whole body that will really help you discern and understand the effects of sugars in your body and how to counteract those. I want to say, Carolyn, that Diana Orlando is here tonight, and she's with us, and she said, Carolyn just looks so young, which you do. And I think that's another thing about sugar is that it does age the body. And I remember listening to Dr. Robert Lustig in the Bitter Truth talk about how you can actually cook your bones with sugar and they brown, kind of caramelize if you have a really diabetic or intense sugar diet. So, there's a lot of things going on in this body. And sugar's not necessarily a friend.
Right. That's the glycation process where excess sugar will attach itself to proteins and fats and whatever. And attaching to proteins is like cooking. You
Ah,
you
right.
see yourself when you put anything to brown in a pan, the heat will just turn things brown. Well, that's glycation. And yes, with age, our bones even get discolored because of sugar. So yes, excess sugar is not good. We need sugar. It's just that incredible balance that the body's trying to make for us. And it can only do that balancing act if it has the right nutrients to drive the different chemical reactions. And, when people say, well, I've got so many symptoms, maybe I'll look at methylene blue or alpha lipoic acid or L-carnitine, and they're not even on enough magnesium to make a difference, then this is where we come in and we sort of pull back and say, look, you need to be saturated with magnesium first, because magnesium is necessary for 80% of known metabolic functions. So why would you leave it out? You leave it out because you get the laxative effect with most magnesiums. Even the ones that say they're the only one that gets in the brain, they're the only one that's non-laxative. There are no non-laxative magnesiums like our liquid Remag, because it's a stabilized ion of magnesium that goes right into the cells. And we have university studies to prove it. And, we can give you that information. You can read the study yourself. So where are we now, Ginny?
Well, Donna has a question here, and this is a good question. These kind of questions come up, and that is about, I've been taking Remag, Remite, and Celtic sea salt since July, but I still have muscle spasms, especially in my feet. I take a cap full of Remag and Remite with salt every day. What are you thinking about that, Carolyn?
Not enough.
Mm.
It's not enough. It's not one a day. I don't know if I'd go straight to two caps. A cap is a teaspoon. I would probably go to a cap and a half, or get a real teaspoon, just to make sure, and put it in your drinking water and drink it throughout the day. But the other thing, and what our customer people will tell you, is that if the magnesium in the correct dosage is still letting you have some spasms, then you do have to look at picopotassium, because potassium and magnesium work together and do similar things. So definitely there are things you could do. And just, be July and August, 2 months, you're trying to fill up your magnesium tank. And if you've been depleted for years, it's going to take some time. And again, I don't know if Don is doing this, but if you take that 1 teaspoon all at once, maybe it overloads your cells and you lose some in your urine or in your stools. So that's why we say it's a liquid, put it in your drink. I mean, I don't know if you were here when I was talking about, I put in my minerals and water and some Zevia, Zevia soda and Pellegrino water and lemon juice. And I make a big jug of that and drink it through the day. And that's what allows you to enjoy it and get the benefits. So there.
Let me also say, Donna, the one thing too you might want to consider is, I know something positive has happened. And we always say there's a cycle of timing, and mineral saturation is a little more difficult, but maybe it's improved your sleep. Maybe you feel calmer, maybe different things. Maybe your skin's cleared up. Maybe your hair feels thicker. There's all kinds of things that happen along the way to that main thing, that one thing that's really bugging you, that you started the products to try to resolve. So just thank your body for taking the formulas, using them, and profiting you in their use, and then just expect more. So the better it gets, the better it gets. That's the way to look at that.
Yeah, look at this testimonial to speak to what you just told Donna.
Oh, yeah, good.
I bought Remag to help with sleep and perimenopause issues, but little did I know how many things magnesium controls. This type is highly absorbable, and I can feel the hydration in my skin for the first time in my life.
Mm.
1 week into taking this, my heat intolerance literally stopped. I can now work in my yard for hours on end without almost passing out and overheating, even in this 90-degree weather. I used to have to take breaks every 30 minutes and felt as if I would pass out. It's a true miracle. So this is what you can expect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I get so excited for testimonials. I just think they're so great.
Right.
All right, let's see. I think we're caught up on the chat line. Everybody, you know that wonderful Margaret Lee actually was at a Linus Pauling lecture in the early 90s, that wonderful woman of ours. So she got to see him in person. Carolyn, did you ever meet Linus Pauling?
I did not. I did not. I was on the West Coast when, my late teens. Bob and I were out there, and I was at conferences, but I do not remember meeting the man. I
Mm.
met Abram Hoffer, and they worked. Abram Hoffer, psychiatrist, Canadian. They worked together, Linus and Abram, to create the Orthomolecular Medical Association, of which I'm on the board right now. So, yeah, I have a strong connection with those folks.
Very cool. Betsy wants to ask again, what was the name of the formula that you were talking about in addition to Pico Silver? And I think you were talking about Floor Revive.
Yes, Floor Revive. Those are our two yeast therapy treatments. Floor Revive capsules and Pico Silver liquid.
Very good. And then also Susan is saying, I take up to 4 teaspoons per day of Remag, and it's still not enough. I get spasms, panic attacks, been doing this for about a year straight. Do I need K?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where you'd call us up and talk to one of our people. Is it the Pico potassium that you need, or the B vitamins? Is there some toxicity that is struggling to get out, which means you might require some realign, which is the B vitamins and 2 sulfur-based amino acids that all work on detoxification, plus everything else, the methylation, HTMFR people. HTMFR, is that it?
Yeah.
MT.
MTHFR.
Yeah, I'm just making it up. So there are things that we can talk to you about. Yes, we do not want people to continue have symptoms when we know you don't have to. I had to take 4 teaspoons a day for over a year to finally calm down my heart palpitations, and I didn't have potassium at the time. I finally made Pico Potassium when I saw all the keto and then the carnivore people avoiding vegetables, and I knew they weren't getting their potassium and creating problems in that regard. So yeah, just give us a call, please, and we'll help sort things out. And when customer service wants a little more input, they're in direct communication with me. So you're always going to be able to get as much information as you require.
That's right. That's right. But never give up. And also, I think in customer service, they have 1 or 2 little blood spot kits. We're trying to clear out our inventory at a discount or something. So let them guide you, because you might need to get some baseline testing on your other nutrients just to see where you're at with everything. 1 cap Floor Revive, is that enough, Carolyn, or is it 2?
Oh, it's usually 2.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when I go on a heavy fruit binge, I'll be taking 3 a day.
Okay. Very good.
Keep things in balance, because you cannot kill off the yeast in your body entirely. It serves a purpose, but you want to keep it down in the large intestine where it belongs, and not riding up into your small intestine and irritating your small intestine.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Halfway through the show tonight, and I don't think we've scratched the surface of all of your slides, so we need to get busy.
MAHA agenda is next. And this is going to be brief, because what did RFK Jr. put out? But 128 recommendations to improve the health of U.S. children. 128. I'm not going to list them. You can search that online and see what he's about, and it's critically important. I mean, look what's going on with the youth of today, and it starts in with the brain not having the nutrients it requires, and having anti-nutrients. So there was that, and a definite move to educate medical students in nutrition. But my charity and the charity of Garrett Pagan. What's Garrett's last name, Ginny? Garrett.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Garrett Pagel, Pagel.
Pagel.
Pagel. Okay, Pagel.
He started the Vital Choice Project. You can look it up. And my charity, paragenius.org, parageniusfoundation.org. We're working together to educate pre-med students in nutrition. Because when you're in medical school, you cannot add one more hour of reading. I mean, people just don't have any idea of the density of the amount of information. And it's also drug oriented too. So we want to educate pre-med students, and Garrett is setting up the Vital Choice Project chapters in all the cities and all the universities, so that we can educate these young people. That's what I did. I mentioned that at the start of the show. I was doing all the nutrition conferences and everything out on the West Coast when I was a teenager. I didn't do drugs. I was into dietary supplements. So educating medical students, yes, let's educate pre-med students. 120 recommendations to improve the health of U.S. children. And that's MAHA. And then we go on to questions and comments. Now it's interesting. I guess this person was interested in me talking about the vitamin C, but she said to one of our people on a phone call, she wanted a discussion about the antiviral properties of vitamin C, its molecular structures. Notable researchers like Linus Pauling, Matthias Rath, I've talked about them and their work with LPA, emphasizing the potential health benefits and scientific background. Yeah, there's never been enough money put into researching vitamin C, and so it's being ignored. And about vitamin C for viral infections, etc. Now, what I reread recently was Dr. Thomas Levy's book called Curing the Incurable: Vitamin C, Infectious Diseases and Toxins. Now, this is quite an eye-opener. 2011, he wrote it. Thomas Levy was on one of our podcasts 2 years ago now with the Vitamin C gang. And it's incredible. In the Vitamin C book, I'm just listing his section titles, because he's talking about using vitamin C for polio, for hepatitis, for measles, mumps, viral encephalitis, chickenpox, pneumonia. I mean, it just seriously goes on. It goes into all the toxicity. Any toxin can be neutralized with vitamin C. Now, for the most part, he's talking about intravenous vitamin C, and that's the rub, because not enough doctors are learning about vitamin C and its benefits to go out into practice and use intravenous vitamin C. We're talking about 50 to 100 grams of vitamin C, and you have to mix it properly with like a baking soda to neutralize the acidity. There, you can't just shove liquid vitamin C in your arm. So maybe with pre-med students learning about nutrition, and if they read my book and learn about Dr. Levy's book and all the incredible doctors who have used intravenous vitamin C miraculously, maybe we'll get somewhere. I would love that. We're in the questions and, well, testimonials. Here we are, more testimonials. Someone is giving a 5-star review for RNA reset drops, giving them a happy Zen state of mind and cell rejuvenation. And someone on Remag, 5 stars, says, I feel confident in taking this product. I've been taking it for about a year, and I can feel a difference in how I feel. My anxiety is much better in general, a lot actually. Heart palpitations are really rare now. I feel better in general. Now, some people will stop there and think, well, that's good enough. But other people, and we would encourage people to phone us up and talk more about, well, what other things are you working on, dealing with, and why don't you add our Remite multiple mineral, because that affects the body head to toe and supports thyroid hormone production, etc., etc. And then someone asked why we use copper in our products. So this is someone who's gotten the information that's come over the years. I think it was Dr. Carl Pfeiffer. He was a PhD who looked into copper toxicity, scared the daylights out of everybody about copper. And I did a big seminar on this with our Amish community because they've been told to stay away from copper. And what am I going to do here? Yeah, I can go to one of our books. I don't know if it's available to our members or not. Now, where is that? I don't want to get rid of this. Should be here. Yeah, it's our Reset Your Wellness. I mean, that was a book where I wrote about our different nutrients, not necessarily our products, but the different nutrients. But because I talk about the products, the FDA doesn't want me to say good things about products. But I talked about the relationship of copper and zinc. So I wrote, anytime you talk about zinc, copper has to come up in the conversation, and vice versa. That's why I have zinc and copper in Remite, and there's an extra source of copper in whole C Reset, because there are 2 copper atoms that reside inside the tyrosine enzyme molecule, which is found in food-based vitamin C supplements. So, vitamin C from food has copper in it. Copper is necessary, but it's necessary if it's bioavailable. If it's a copper compound, presumably that can cause problems because it's not properly absorbed. Maybe it deposits in the body. I don't know all those details, but bioavailable copper is essential. And copper was recognized as an essential element in 1928, much earlier than most other minerals. Its uptake from the diet through the intestines is very low, only about 5%, et cetera, et cetera. So the antagonism towards zinc, Carl Pfeiffer, the most common sources of copper toxicity are from water contaminated by copper plumbing. Estrogen in birth control pills drives down zinc and elevates copper. Copper IUDs, they started to become toxic. And the copper compounds in multiple vitamins and minerals. So copper itself, important in red and white blood cell formation. It's found in most antibodies. It's necessary for creating the color and texture of your hair, responsible for the elasticity of your skin through the production of elastin, which cross-links with collagen. And magnesium has a role to play there as well. Adequate copper levels are essential for the growth of new blood vessels, wound healing, recovery from heart attacks, and strokes. Copper functions as a constituent of several antioxidant enzymes, superoxide dismutase, monoamine oxidase, MAO, and cytochrome oxidase. Cytochrome oxidase is involved in the final step of the Krebs cycle, occurring in mitochondria that creates ATP, the main energy source in cells. And we know ATP is also identified as MgATP. I mean, why would you avoid copper if it's this important? So people have been scared of copper, made scared of copper, and they stopped supplementing with it. And maybe that was a good idea because it was copper compound. But with our stabilized ions of copper, stabilized ions of zinc, put in our dietary formulas in balance, then they are important and natural. And the zinc part of it, we're talking about ADHD, postpartum depression, premenstrual tension, paranoia, prostate health. And back to copper, it acts as a brain stimulant, plays a role in histamine balance. I mean, I could go on, but I'm going to stop. And then there's the copper and ceruloplasm. Ceruloplasm, it is a molecule that has, I think it's 6 copper molecules or atoms attached to it. It's a transport system that binds copper and ferries it through the blood. When ceruloplasm is depleted, copper activity is low. And then it's interesting because sometimes low copper and high copper can have similar symptoms. So you need copper to make this ceruloplasm to move copper around. I know I'm getting too detailed here, but Ginny, tell me, is this book, Reset Your Wellness, available
Not right
to
now.
our
It's
members?
not available right now because it's got too much product information attached to claims. But they can definitely call one-on-one and talk to customer service. So for sure. The other thing Diana Orlando is saying is, and this is, I think, under the category of old wives' tales, take copper in the morning and zinc at night so they're not together and they don't compete. That just sounds like it's contrary to what you just said, but you want to comment on that?
Right. The way I counter that, because they talk about that in terms of calcium and magnesium, they do it with a lot of minerals. And I say, God put all the minerals together in a lot of vegetables, didn't separate them. So if we're eating vegetables, we are eating all these minerals together, and then the body sorts them out. The body is very complex and complicated, and it can take care of you. So that's another, like, clickbait, and it just I'm sure it drives people crazy, all these rules and everything. And that's what we try to deconstruct here and tell people, just take these 6 or 8 basic dietary supplements and you'll be good. And you have to be good. Right now we're living in torturous times, and the only thing that can keep us sane is by keeping healthy, keeping our body, mind, and spirit healthy with good nutrition and good dietary supplements and good information. We have to be strong. We're
Okay,
at
couple
war.
things. Yeah, we do have to be strong, y'all. Come on now. I remember the first time that we got into something with the FDA. Carolyn goes, Ginny, you have to take more Remag right now. I started taking it, and it did help me. It did definitely calm me down because I was like, wow. That was my first time. Now I'm an old pro. I'm like, oh, sure, whatever. Anyway, you guys, Carolyn at Super Dougie and everybody's saying that when your words and your music are talking, that your mouth is, and it's like a Godzilla movie. So, if Rachel's trying to fix it. So everybody, we got your feedback. Thank you, Rachel. She's trying to fix it and figure out how to get the stream to sync up. So it could be.
So just close your eyes. Close your eyes. Hear my words. I mean, this is why I never wanted to do these videos. Not because they would glitch, but it's like, who wants to look at a person's face all the time? Just listen to my words.
Which of your products rebuild the gut after antibiotic use and illness? And we think that's Flora Revive and Pico Silver, right, Carolyn?
Correct. And fermented foods, do some of your sauerkraut or kimchi, or if you're eating dairy. But if you've got anything in the gut, dairy is hard to digest. So fermented foods, Flora Revive, and Pico
Very
Silver.
good. Excellent. Okay. I think we're all caught up. If we're not, just hit me up again, but let's keep going, Carolyn.
So pros and cons of supplements, drugs, and research. So I for your benefit, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Man, it's anyway, I learn stuff. So I saw Rhonda Patrick YouTube. So as I've talked about Rhonda Patrick, she's a PhD nutrition researcher, and I like hearing what she has to say. The same with this new guy, Nick Norwich, and I learn a lot, but they really do not understand the interaction of nutrients. They never learned it in school because it's not on the curriculum. So how could they? And then they get into studying the research that's available to all of us to read. But seriously, the research out there's research showing that the research is only 50% accurate. When you go to try to reproduce these studies are supposed to be reproducible, which makes them accurate, and less than 50% of studies can be reproduced. I talked about this in Death by Modern Medicine in 2005 when I wrote that book. 20 years ago, I was exposing all this stuff that now everybody thinks it's, oh my goodness, what's going on? It's been going on. So when you look at these people talking about the studies and making these kind of grand conclusions, because studies don't make conclusions, so we have to have the critics of the studies make the conclusions. So Rhonda's talking about how to use coffee to live longer. Okay. So my problem is, I admit I don't drink coffee, never got into the habit. So I don't have to look for ways to justify taking it. So when I listened to this, there were so many caveats about drinking it. Oh, well, yeah, you have to use organic. You can only drink it at certain times. Don't drink too much. You brew it and filter it in specific ways. Boiled coffee is the worst. It increases all the coffee risk. So it's like, oh my gosh, just what do you do? They go to Starbucks, and I don't know what Starbucks coffee is like, except expensive. And like I said, all the studies on coffee, seriously, I think most of them are paid for by the coffee industry. Who else would bother doing coffee studies? And so, they're not they're not righteous or truthful results that come out of these studies. And when Rhonda was talking about the risks associated with this and that, it's never identified as absolute risks or relative. And it's kind of a difficult topic, but relative risks tend to be 10 times more than absolute. And I want an absolute risk. So, bear that in mind as well. So besides me not drinking it, I've seen too many patients and customers whose adrenal glands just can't take coffee. It's too much of a stimulant. So, I'd like to see some caution in the promotion of coffee. It's kind of like we're finally saying that alcohol is a poison. All the studies that came, oh, little wine here, little this is good, resveratrol, all the rest of it. Alcohol is a poison. Sugar is a poison. Will we finally say, well, coffee is really not that good? And what do I have here? There's something about some neurobiotic sense that they're talking about where bacteria in the gut can drive your appetite. Okay, I've been saying this about yeast overgrowth for decades, like the Borg in Star Trek with a group mind that craves sugar. So now they're saying it about bacteria, but maybe they mean yeast, but they just avoid talking about yeast. And then my new buddy Dr. Nick Norwitz, is talking about fructose and sugar metabolism. Now, this is interesting because he mentioned studies on rats and mice. So you have to realize that any sugar studies on animals that make their own vitamin C will be inaccurate. Remember, I talked about vitamin C and sugar compete to get into a cell. Well, rats and mice produce vitamin C. So if you do sugar studies on rats and mice, there's no way you can equate that with human information. So I'm saying here, medical education does not include vitamins and minerals. So even very bright people miss the nuance. They never say vitamin D requires magnesium, that sugar and vitamin C compete for transport into cells, or that heart disease can be caused by vitamin C deficiency because collagen production is affected, or that 9 minerals are required to make thyroid hormones. So not just iodine, not just iodine and selenium, there are 9 minerals. Iodine, selenium, zinc, molybdenum, boron, copper, chromium, manganese, and magnesium. So a lack of any one of those minerals can throw a wrench into thyroid hormone production. And who knows this stuff? Who studied medicine and naturopathic medicine and nutrition and herbology and Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine and put it all together? Who's done that, Ginny?
The only person I
Ginny's
know is
gone.
Dr. Carolyn Dean. I would say she's the only one. That's the only person I know. And it's so funny that you mentioned the Rhonda Patrick segment about coffee because I did see that as I was whipping through and I thought, uh-oh. Of course you saw it. I thought, oh, Carolyn will probably never see this. I almost sent it to you, and of course you saw it. That's so hilarious. That's great. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, 3 minutes to the top of the show. So what are we going to do tonight, Carolyn?
Well, I have 4 articles. They won't take long, so we'll just run over time and
All
make
right,
Rachel
very
happy
good. Let's
again.
go.
Okay. Now, the first one, the Teach Back Method. And they subtitle it A Quick Way for Busy Family Doctors. I don't know, a quick win for busy family doctors. So I found this to be an embarrassing article. It instructs doctors in ways of making sure that patients understand what they are saying by getting the patient to repeat what the doctor said. Oh, so what did I say? And lo and behold, it works. It seems that doctors have to be taught common sense. So when I was in practice, I went one step further. So here I am bragging again that when I was in practice, I asked my patients to bring a notepad and make notes of what I said and what I recommended. But I also spent a lot of time with my patients. And we do the same in our customer service, and we call it customer experience because nobody is given a time per call. Oh, I have 7 minutes to talk to you, like doctor's appointments. We take the time to hear your story and work out a plan, and that puts our customers in charge. And if you do that at the beginning, give a wholesome answer, a wholesome protocol for someone, then they're not calling back every couple of days. Well, what did you say about this? And tell me that again. We take care of people when they come to us and give them the whole picture. So that's awesome. The next article is the World Health Organization adds GLP-1 drugs for diabetes to their essential medicines list. Now, this is just so horrible. It's hard to believe. Ozempic, with its dozens and dozens of side effects, up to and including blindness, has now been added to the WHO list of essential medicines. So my only question is, who got bought off and for how much? And then the next one, new guidelines for pregnancy and inflammatory bowel disease aim to quell fears. So they don't aim to treat the problem. They aim to just, pat you on the head. Oh, we'll take care of you. But it's about pregnant women taking drugs. And when I was in medical school, they told us, do not give anything to a pregnant woman, especially in the first 3 months, because there's such a high rate of miscarriage. If you give something, it could be blamed or it could hasten a miscarriage. Now, I'm hearing what's said here, the pregnant women have inflammatory bowel disease, but I guess, if I were their doctor, I would say, well, let's clear up your inflammatory bowel disease before you decide to get pregnant. So what's happening here is in the realm of giving patients drugs for life, not looking at the pregnancy picture, but saying, oh yeah, we can find a drug that's safe for you, quote marks around the safe. So anyway, the article says this is the first ever global guidelines for pregnancy and inflammatory bowel disease recommends continuing biologics. And people who listen regularly, they know I'm very concerned about biologics because biologics can contain live organisms. So they're saying continuing them through pregnancy and lactation in women with inflammatory bowel disease, suggesting that this approach will not harm the fetus. So inflammatory bowel diseases, Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. So these are serious conditions, but they can be related to yeast overgrowth and respond to restriction of sugar, gluten, and dairy, and taking the antifungal treatment I was mentioning earlier. And they continue in this article. We also have a better understanding of placental transfer of biologic agents and the lack of exposure to the fetus during the first trimester, which is a key period of organogenesis, when the organs are made. So a better understanding, does that mean they don't transfer? I mean, that does not really make me feel that they're safe, because everything goes across the placenta barrier, as I understand it. And I don't believe for one moment, because biologics are drugs or vaccines made from living organisms so that they can be safe. It can be made from proteins, sugars, DNA, cells, or living tissue. The source may be human, animal, or microorganism like a bacteria or virus. Then they say that studies show that pregnant women with IBD can take low-dose aspirin 12 to 16 weeks gestation to prevent preterm preeclampsia. Seriously, when they know magnesium can prevent preeclampsia and eclampsia. They know that. Why are they giving aspirin, which is a blood thinner and a bleeder? And then their further recommendations is live rotavirus vaccine may be provided in children within utero exposure to biologics. So there was some concern that women on biologics who had babies, when a child got this rotavirus vaccine, that they would have side effects. And now they're trying to say that they don't. I mean, it just goes on and on and on with no concern about, doing natural therapies. So, I mean, I'm making a note down here, does anyone remember thalidomide, which is a known human teratogen? It carried an extremely high risk of life-threatening birth defects. I went to school with the young man who didn't have an arm because his mother had taken thalidomide. So what are we causing with these biologics? So I think one more study, finishing up with, are preschoolers with ADHD getting medications too soon after diagnosis? And of course, the answer is yes. They did a study among over 700,000 children seen in primary care. 68% of them aged 4 to 5 years who were diagnosed with ADHD received medication before age 7, and 42% receiving prescriptions within 30 days of diagnosis. So instead of diet, exercise, dietary supplements like the B vitamins and magnesium, all these kids are given medications. And one side effect, besides the physical side effects, is that kids are conditioned to believe that a pill is the answer to mental, physical, and emotional problems. So there, Ginny, I end my rant.
Outstanding. Well, that was rant worthy. All of it was just absurd. I mean, the thing about Ozempic,
someone got paid off. Someone got
there you
paid
go.
off.
That's
No
a good way to
question.
say it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again tonight. And we want to, again, encourage you, visit Dr. Carolyn Dean's website, drcarolyndean.com. All of her wonderful content and resources are there. And also, don't hesitate to go to rnareset.com and look at the information that's on there. We have tons of information about yeast overgrowth and also about how to restore your gut, all the different things that have been built out on Carolyn's website and at rnareset.com, where her formulas are. We have so many educational videos on YouTube. I mean, there's just no end to end. Then you can always call customer service. We are here to support. And then I just got the very most precious thing in the whole wide world that was said on the chat line tonight. I must say, even though there's very many precious things that are said, but this one just touched me in my core, because Susan Blackberry said, where'd she go? Come on, Susan, where are you? She said, my dog loves Remag and Remite. He too has magnesium deficiency and he has insomnia without it. Yay! Isn't that great? So you guys go to picopets.com and check out our wonderful products. Dr. Dean's formulas have all been put in the proper bottles with our very precious pets on the front. And we're here to support you. We have a vet tech who works for us, who answers all our FAQs and does our customer service. And we have all kinds of great resources at picopets.com as well. So look, we've got you covered, and covered again. The whole family.
Awesome. So is that all? We must have something exciting coming up. I mean,
We're always
what have
doing
I been
something.
doing?
Well, Carolyn's doing anti-aging research, and we do have our announcement about our status in the dietary supplement industry and different things. You're going to see some changes to our website to feature that information a little bit more prominently. And as usual, our bundles are always on sale at rnareset.com. We'll be back next week with more wonderful things, and we're just going to keep going and going. And we hope you guys hang out with us again next week. please tell your friends to join us. Right? Right, Carolyn?
And I have something to say about the farm is doing extremely well. We held a farm tour for the Maui Tourist Bureau and some journalists on Saturday, and it was just so delightful. And we're opening a second brick and mortar store in Wailea in the next couple of months. And we're going to have online sales of our freeze-dried and dehydrated fruit so you can have a taste of Maui. I mean, it's just awesome what's happening over here.
The world's coming up roses. We're doing good. We're going to keep our bliss high, our expectations high.
Dr. Carolyn Dean, the doctor of the future.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Rachel.
Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.